It almost feels like a dream, but yes, we finally have the first official teaser for the much-anticipated Deadpool 3, which is now officially being called Deadpool and Wolverine. I thought the teaser was perfect, and I absolutely loved everything about it, although I would have loved a better look at Wolverine in his iconic yellow-blue costume. Some of the things which were revealed are actually very important in the context of the future of the MCU going forward. The teaser also kind of confirms some of the rumored stuff that I have been discussing on my channel. I am going to do a detailed breakdown and analysis of each and every scene from the teaser. So, sit back, relax and enjoy. Before starting, I am just going to request you to spend 1 second of your time to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because it is the only thing that motivates me to keep working harder and bring you more and more such awesome contents. Okay, now let us dive right into the teaser. The first thing you need to remember in order to understand the context and background of this teaser is the ending of Deadpool 2, where Wade Wilson basically uses Cable's time machine in an attempt to change some of the things that went wrong in his past, more specifically to bring his wife Vanessa back to life. In the first shot, we see Deadpool aka Wade Wilson celebrating his birthday with a lot of familiar faces from the Deadpool franchise like Dopinder, Colossus and Yukio. It looks like Wade has aged considerably and he looks seemingly exhausted and tired. However, if we look at the other members at his birthday party, including his wife Vanessa, they look pretty fresh and young, which obviously can be explained by Deadpool's use of the time machine. This can be somewhat compared to the ending of Avengers Endgame, where we see old Captain America returning back to his timeline. Then in the next shot, we see members of the Time Variance Authority arrive at Wade's doorstep. This is because Deadpool, while using Cable's time machine, most likely must have caused some sort of unwanted disturbance within the sacred timeline. The TVA members then transports Wade Wilson to the TVA headquarters by pushing him into and through a door-shaped portal, and interestingly at this point, we get to see that Wade was actually wearing a wig the whole time, which eventually comes off and falls on the ground. Then in the next shot, we see Deadpool within the TVA headquarters, where he is apparently being questioned by one of the higher TVA officials. Needless to say, this scene is quite reminiscent of Loki Season 1, where we get to witness the first encounter between Mobius and Loki. Now, let me inform you that this character is actually a character from Marvel Comics called Mr. Paradox, who is in fact a clone of Mobius himself. Then, we get to see Paradox showing Loki some clips of the OG Avengers, which is again very similar to the scene from Loki where Mobius shows Loki few clips from the Battle of New York. Now, this scene is actually in alignment with some of the leaks that have come to light regarding the storyline of the movie. Although what I am about to reveal over the next few minutes is unconfirmed, there is a strong possibility that these details could turn out to be an actual spoiler. So, with that little warning out of the way, let us get back into the breakdown once again. At this point, let me take you back to the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In the movie, Wanda murders the Illuminati in cold blood in an alternate universe which, according to the MCU, is Earth 838. This event apparently triggered a major distortion, and Earth 838 has in fact become a major threat to the existence and stability of the sacred timeline. The TVA then comes to the conclusion that the only way to protect the sacred timeline would be to prune the entire universe, better known as Earth 838. Paradox is basically handing Deadpool an offer. He asks Wade Wilson to help the TVA in their mission to prune Earth 838, and in exchange of which he would release him and send him back to his timeline. That actually makes sense, because Paradox, while showing him the clips of the Avengers, tells Wade that this is his chance to be a hero and that he is in fact very special. Coming to the very next shot, we get to see two of the most iconic members of the X-Men. I could be wrong, but in this particular shot, we can see the outline of someone that looks like a very popular and familiar face among every Marvel fan on the planet. Yes, this to me indeed looks very much like Professor X due to the very distinct outline of his head and these rather pointy ears. And then, in the next shot, we see Deadpool entering into some kind of a nightclub where we get to see the character who is probably the main highlight and selling point of this movie. Yes, this is in fact our very first look at Wolverine, which actually kind of reminds me of the teaser for that Wolverine game where Logan is seen sitting inside a bar. Now, there is actually something very interesting which you need to understand about this particular scene. The outlook and appearance of Wolverine here most likely is a reference and throwback to the Marvel comics called Wolverine Patch, where Wolverine wore an eye patch to disguise himself while he goes on a visit to Madripoor. Yes, I am talking about the same Madripoor which we saw in the first season of Loki. It is possible that Wolverine right here is actually in some kind of a nightclub in Madripoor. This probably indicates that Deadpool is trying to assemble a team of his own to help him in his TVA mission. Then we finally get to witness Wade doing something that makes him all the more iconic and special. Yes, Deadpool finally breaks the fourth wall, saying that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is about to undergo a major change after his arrival into the franchise. In the next shot, we see Deadpool putting on his iconic costume, which actually looks a lot better with the bright red colors and the Deadpool logo on his belt. Then we get to see some really cool action scenes, including few R-rated ones, which is something I never expected to see in a Disney movie. We see Deadpool fighting members of the TVA using his iconic handguns, which is actually pretty awesome to see. A huge fan of the Deadpool character. The most interesting part, however, is the background location of some of these next few scenes. Right here, we can see a giant 20th Century Fox logo, which we also got to see in some of the set leaks. Another very interesting location is this particular one, where we see Deadpool fighting the TVA in what looks like a snowy forest. I do not know about anyone else, but this location definitely reminds me of this particular location from the movie, Avengers Age of Ultrons. In another shot, we get to see some kind of a cloudy storm, which probably could be Alioth from Loki Season 1. We then get to see a rather familiar face from the original X-Men movies known as the Pyro, who, if you remember, played the role of an antagonist working under Magneto in 2006's X-Men The Last Stand movie. I know that this whole thing must seem really confusing for you. Do not worry, because I am going to explain each and everything in the most simple terms over the next few minutes. Earlier in the video, I told you that Deadpool would be working for the TVA, but here we can see Deadpool downright murdering them in cold blood. In order to understand the whole thing, we again have to consider a few elements from some of the plot leaks once again. After Wade messes up the timeline at the end of Deadpool 2, he is basically sent to the Void by the TVA, the same location where Loki gets to meet some of his most ridiculous variants. The 20th Century logo and the Age of Ultron location indicates the fact that these are elements of some of the universes that have been pruned by the TVA. In fact, this is exactly what the TVA is basically trying to do with Earth 838, because, as I mentioned, after the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that particular universe has turned into a major threat to the stability of the sacred timeline. It is rumored that during Deadpool's time within the Void, we are going to see cameos of some classic Marvel characters like Jennifer Garner's Elektra, Lady Deadpool, Sabretooth, a couple of members from one of the old Fantastic Four movies, as well as Dazzler, played by none other than Taylor Swift. Then we get the big money shot of the teaser, when we get to see a small glimpse of Wolverine in his iconic yellow-blue costume standing over Deadpool. Mr. Paradox is said to have a change of heart at some point in the movie, and he eventually comes to the conclusion that Deadpool might actually prove to be quite helpful in his mission to prune Earth 838. In order to do that, he sends some of his men to escort Wade out of the Void. However, Wade initially has a misunderstanding, which is why he starts attacking them. And right when the teaser is about to end, we get probably one of the most important Easter eggs, which is basically an Avengers Secret Wars comic book lying on the ground right here. I have already told this numerous times in the past, and I am going to say it again, that Deadpool 3 is going to be one of the most important elements in setting things up for Avengers Secret Wars. I am not going to go into much more details on this, because it will ridiculously increase the runtime of this video. I think this is already a pretty long video, and my intention was to give you a detailed breakdown of the teaser. I hope I was able to achieve that, at least to some degree. I personally thought that the trailer was perfect. I was really hoping to get a better look at Wolverine with the comic-accurate yellow costume, but nevertheless, as I said, the trailer was pretty good. It managed to raise my excitement level for the movie to a great degree, while at the same time it also did not give away too much about the overall storyline. So, that is all I had to share in this video. Do let me know your thoughts about the trailer and all these details which I have shared in this video in the comments down below. And please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.